Hey, I'm JRLA, and welcome back to the Level Up Business Podcast. If you are tired of feeling like your voice is getting lost on LinkedIn and you want to stand out, you want to stand apart, then I want to introduce you to Joshua B. Lee, who is the founder and CEO of Standout Authority, where he's helping entrepreneurs humanize their LinkedIn brand using human-first AI so they get seen, trusted, and most importantly, chosen. Today, Josh and I break down what it really takes to build trust, authority, and meaningful relationships in the age of AI. And together, we're going to explore why human connection, not hacks, are your greatest advantage as an entrepreneur and how you can show up with authentic intelligence to truly differentiate yourself from artificial intelligence. Josh is also going to help bust some myths that I know hold many entrepreneurs back from even thinking about, from even beginning to leverage LinkedIn. For example, like why building a personal brand isn't just about being an influencer, it's about creating impact. Now, I want to warn you, this is an episode that's more than just a conversation about content or LinkedIn strategy. It's an episode where I want to really help you rethink what it means to be successful, how to show up human in a digital first world, and why your past struggles might just be the platform that can help others level up on their journey of growth. But first, if you are a visionary B2B entrepreneur who wants to transform your past experience being one of your most valuable assets as an entrepreneur, if you want to transform that past experience into IP that elevates your influence and increases your income, send me a text right now, 832-240-1922, because I want to teach you, I want to show you how you can transform video content just like this into a published book that monetizes your unique wisdom. Now, let's get ready to learn. Let's get ready to grow. Let's get ready to level up with Josh. Josh, dude, I'm so happy to be sharing time with you today. And you've got some really great perspective. We're going to talk Standout Authority. We're going to talk about humanizing online connections. Not humanizing, but humanizing. It kind of reminds me of like how some people say Houston.
I was going to say, dude, I'm from Houston, so it was Humanize, and then I was at a dinner with some friends, and I was telling them, they're like, dude, that's mind-blowing. And I'm like, what? They're like, Humanize. I never heard that before. I'm like, I'm still not understanding what you're saying because I don't use H's. And then it came out, and the entire branding shifted to YOUmanize.
I like that. Well, I mean, it definitely caught my eye. We're going to talk LinkedIn.
Yeah.
We're talking about working together with a life partner too. What that looks like, what that feels like. Before we get too deep down the rabbit hole, what is good in your world? Because I'm in Houston. You're right up the road from me in Austin. What's positive, personally, professionally? It's your pick to get started on a positive note.
You know, I mean, look, I got 3 amazing kids. My wife and I are, creating some massive new successes. And we're seeing some shifts with what we're launching with Humanize. So, dude, I've been in the bit. I started my own company almost 21 years ago. So I'm on my 16th business over 21 years. And after a while, sometimes you kind of lose that excitement. And now with what we're creating, what we're building for Humanize, dude, let me tell you, I'm excited. I spent the last 3 days nonstop using the coding AI, Lovable, just building something amazing that I'm excited to be able to share with the world. And I didn't even need a CTO. So it's just crazy.
Well, and I think it's an interesting point to perhaps unpack just a bit, because you've been doing this 21 years as an entrepreneur. I'm going to come back to 16 businesses. I've been doing this 23 years as an entrepreneur. And I would say I've had really 3 big inflection points, probably 5 brands throughout that experience.
Yeah.
Roll this all the way back, because you got other entrepreneurs who are different stages of their entrepreneurial journey that tune in and watch, listen. Go back 21 years ago.
Yeah.
The world was a different place. Like your point, you're building stuff on Lovable. If you could go back 21 years, knowing what you know now, what was the biggest lesson over the last 21 years, 16 brands yourself?
It's interesting, right? I learned a hell of a lot of lessons, and that's what put me here today. Some people might say that I trust people too much, right? And I've been screwed over because of it. I mean, we go through there's multiple different times where even the best man for my first wedding stole over $1 million from me. Right. Like, so, I've been through these, I bet I was in Vegas one time and I was a buddy of mine who just sold his company for, I don't know, like 25 mil. And I was building some source code for a new platform. And he was like, dude, I'm going to hook you up. We're at Vegas. We're at the Playboy Club at the Palms. We're throwing cars down. And he's like, man, I'm going to hook you up. I'll sell you with a source code to move you faster for 1.3 mil. And let me tell you that, and I did a handshake bet and I was like, all right, cool. I didn't do my due diligence, and that 1.3 million ended up costing me over 10 million over the next year. So like, we can go through a lot of different aspects of what I learned. I mean, the biggest one I would say is why I started my company in the first place and what I was taught from my parents, right? They were taught to be able to, money was the goal. How do you actually make money? And I think the biggest shift when I actually stepped back, because when I went through my divorce a little over 10 years ago, look, people would say I was successful. I was running 10 different companies, 6, 7, and 8 figures. And money wasn't an object. 2 kids, wife, house. I had a great big ass team. It didn't seem like I worked, but I was staring at a wall at times in my office for 8 hours a day, contemplating if the money I would leave for my kids would be more important than me. And until I made the shift to realize that money wasn't the goal, it should be the byproduct of what I do, that was a massive shift. And I started actually doing what I was meant to do in this world, and money flowed freely to me without me actually making it always the essence that we're always chasing. And I think that's the biggest thing for most entrepreneurs. Like, money should not be the goal. It should be the byproduct of what you do.
You're hitting very close to home. That was the first 10 years of my entrepreneurial journey. And it almost cost me a marriage to my best friend. She came October 4th, 2012 and said, it's the family of the business. And by that point, we had hit 7 figures multiple years in a row with an agency.
Yeah.
And started the business because she told me 10 years before that, your punk rock band sucks and do something with your life. So she's truly an inspiration. And before we hit record, I was just telling you how much of a truth teller she is. And she'll tell you, she'll hurt your feelings, but she'll do it out of love.
Yeah.
And I was chasing, I was grinding. And I would say then I spent the last 10 years in between that trying to just figure things out for myself. Like, it's the existential crisis. And it's like, I still was on the entrepreneurial journey, but why am I here?
Yeah.
How am I going to create value in the world and let the money be the byproduct of that? What was the shift in your life to go from chasing to, and I know it sounds so woo-woo, even me saying this, but I'm starting to see and I'm starting to understand, from chasing to attracting.
Yeah. JR, dude, I mean, brother, let me just be 100% transparent, right? Like, I mean, I was as entrepreneur too, right? Like, so like, I think my marriage was probably over before I realized it. And I was going to fix it, right? Like, I was having a kid. That's going to fix my marriage. No, I'm gonna have a second kid. That'll fix it. Kids don't fix marriages, right? Like that's the wrong thing. And so I was very blessed. A good friend of mine, Jesse Elder, amazing human here in Austin, Texas.
Yes.
It was a good buddy of mine, and he gave me permission. He gave me permission to take my life back and give my former hers. And
wow,
it was, and I think as men, we need that sometimes, because we don't have permission to show what's really happening. We have to hide we're told to hide all our mistakes, right? Like that's not good. You don't tell anyone that you messed up, right? Like, they got to see only the good stuff. And that's the problem in this world. And he gave me that permission, and I was able to, I remember my lawyers, they go, Josh, it's going to take 3 years. Like, she thinks that there's money hidden everywhere, whatever. I said, I can always make more money. I can't make more time, and I'm not going to put my kids through that. I said, give her everything. And I walked away at 36 with a little bit under $1,000 in my name and moved it back in with my parents and reset my life. And dude, when I reset, like at first I was like, this is awesome. I haven't been out in the world in a while. And I was also in a mini depression, but didn't realize it because I was trying to have fun. And when I wasn't having fun, I was just passed out on the couch, right? Like, just like, all right, well, and I wasn't really showing up. And the real shift was I mean, and you would have seen me when I first, and this is when I wrote my book, Balance is Bullshit, right? How to live more of an integrated life, not this work-life balance.
Yeah.
And I had my man bun. I had my mala beads, bro. You talk about woo, like I had my pendulum had swung. I'm going to be a life coach. And then I realized really quickly that I didn't want to be a life coach. That wasn't me. And I was trying to forget my past to forge a new future. And I think that's the big thing. And the shift finally was when I embraced my past with my future. And that was taking all my marketing and advertising background. And then I was trying to be more human and show people how to do it. And then that's kind of where Standout Authority was born. How do we not, because like my first client, when I started my company, very blessed, was MySpace, right? Like I helped MySpace create one of the first social media ads to monetize their traffic. I mean, that's crazy.
I want to pause. I want to pause you
yeah.
back because I think you're touching into something that I'm really connecting and resonating with. If I think about like my journey and other entrepreneur journeys, every entrepreneur, their past probably has a lot of pain buried within.
100%.
I do addictions. I mean, like very near divorce, a lot of therapy. I mean, and this goes all the way back to even some like childhood crap that I had to resolve. And it's interesting. I think once I started addressing and being honest with myself, because at the pinnacle of my success, if you will, Vegas story, like I was an asshole, man. My wife was pregnant with the second child, Lucia, and I flew from here to Chicago, spoke at an event in Chicago down to Vegas. I had invested in a company my wife did not know about. I'm just put that in pause.
Yeah.
Because they were having a party and they wanted me to come down and hang out. And then I flew from Vegas to the red eye home. We had a doctor's appointment that next morning to go see what the sex of baby number 2 was going to be.
Yeah.
And I was pretty raw walking into that office. So no, dude, I get it. But it's like those past experiences, they become fuel for some, maybe not just for yourself, because what I'm exploring right now is how do our past experiences become the platform that help to elevate others,
right?
That help others level up. But we got to be honest.
Again, not trying to throw this word so much, it humanizes us, because again, most of us sit here and again, you look at a platform that I work on, LinkedIn, everyone's like, look at my shiny shit, right? Like this is where we're at. And they only talk about where they're, I'm the CEO, I'm the founder, I'm the director. And then you're like, where's the rest? Like, dude, I want to know your full career journey, because you're up here. Like I remember I was like, a buddy of mine, Ron Lynch, was like, you introduce yourself. You're like, hey, I'm Joshua Lee. I'm Joshua B. Lee. I've started 16 companies. I've done $1 billion in advertising. He's like, every time you say that, you and your audience and everyone you're talking to, the gap grows. And that's all we're doing is as soon as we're stacking all our fun entrepreneur stuff, gap between us and who we're talking to. And so when you actually go back in and go, hey, this happened. Hey, my first job in this world, I worked as a server at Chili's.
Mm-hmm.
People go, dude, I worked at Chili's. I'm like, yeah, commonality. As human beings, we look for people we find commonality with. Now I'm able to connect with my audience more. They go, man, if Josh worked at Chili's and I did too, maybe I could as well one day be where he's at or where JR is at. Things like that.
Your point on humanizing, it's an area that I've spent a lot of time thinking about, writing about. I talk about the human experience. That was a big part of my first book, the human experience in the context of a digital world. You go back to MySpace. I was building a very early social network with a friend who was up at Baylor University. It was called Bear Swap, and we were bypassing the bookstore. And through that experience, I was like, oh my gosh, like, wow, the way that we connect as people, like it's still a people thing. And now I think like we're in this whole age of AI and there's this AI hype cycle. And been doing a couple of keynotes, and it's interesting because I really don't talk much to that. Like I might reference it, but I'm looking at it through more of the human context. And there's people in audiences now, like, if I have to hear one more thing about AI, I'm not going to come to this event again. It's like, it's
exhausting.
Your point though on humanizing and authority, and I appreciate the way that you're just showing up here, once again, it's kind of a word I'm starting to be mindful of using. Authenticity, authentic.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think there's some truth to it too. It's like, okay, you got artificial intelligence on one side of the spectrum. I'm more interested in the authentic intelligence of the human experience.
Right.
When you think about the work that you're doing, now you're leveraging your past experience, you know, to help others elevate, to help others level up, to become standout authorities. I want to pause on that point. Why now with the work that you're doing, and why become a standout authority? Why stand up? Maybe why stand up
You
to
got to
become a
stand up. I
standout
mean,
authority?
JR, dude, I mean, like, I love the question. I'll pull back 20 years, right? Because I was at that early stage, right? Working with companies, MySpace, Google, Yahoo, Overture before it was even Yahoo.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw a lot of what Google was doing, right? I mean, dude, let me tell you, in the online advertising world, like the fraud that was happening behind the scenes was insane because we didn't have tracking, we didn't have analytics. And I was asked many times, hey, like, Josh, you want to talk on this? And I was like, I'm good. Because I mean, dude, we were printing money. We were doing arbitrage, right? Like, I had a direct access with Yahoo Overture, and I built the platform on MySpace, and then we were getting their traffic for a tenth of a penny and selling it for keywords like mesothelioma for $500 and making a
Mm-hmm.
margin. I mean, let me tell you, a couple $1 million a month, and I was like, man, I'm making a ton of money behind the curtain. I'm good. But that doesn't create change. It doesn't actually create a better world. It's very selfish. And when I realized, and in this world, if we want to authentically create a better world, not only for us, but for our children and future generations, we have to stand up and we have to stand out. We have to stop trying to monetize this world. And we have to actually start learning how to humanize our online experience. How do we actually stop? I don't want to sell someone. I want to educate, inspire, and draw them into and have them choose to work with me rather than selling. I spent years selling. I don't know how many people I helped, but now the people I get to work with are men and women. I used to read their books on how to be able to start my own company 20 years ago. And I mean, being able to create advocates first rather than clients, because the client's a one-to-one relationship. An advocate can bring me thousands of opportunities. And that's the shift. But you have to be human to do that. And in a world, like you said, of AI, with SEO kind of evolving, going out the window, it's going to AEO, zero
Mm-hmm.
click mentality, because people aren't clicking on results. They're going to search engines like ChatGPT and getting the answer.
Yeah.
Like, you have to be able to figure out how are you going to be the answer?
These are the questions that I think about what we're talking about, and because I don't have the answer. I'm probably just as much of a student right now, trying to learn and discover and
Yeah.
understand and pattern match the past to then at least form a hypothesis that could be a path to help others level up in the future. And
Yeah.
your point on the fraud, and the ads, that's the underbelly of the internet. It's the dark world. And I that really became clear to me. And I think that's, coming from an agency space and then moving into the advisory space with my previous business, we secret shopped 1,200 plus financial institution websites.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget one time we did it. We were looking at the heat map analytics, and there was this big white dot of quote unquote like activity. And not knowing this, because this was maybe close to 8 years ago, I was like, that's fraud. It's just what my intuition is, what
Yeah.
my gut told me. So called up the analytics company. They're like, yep, that's fraud. And it was with a very well, I don't want to use the name because I'm not about bringing people down, but it was with the very well-known brand that at the time, a lot of institutions were buying ads and buying traffic from.
Yeah.
And it popped up once, and we called them out. And then there was another firm, popped up again, I'm like, wait a minute.
Could have been Lycos, because I work with them and they had a whole bunch of fraud. But
No. You're building it. You're building.
I have no problem calling people out these days. I'm like, dude, if I don't, who's not going to? So it's like,
It's a fair point. It's a fair point. You're building a business on lies. It was, and I'm like, you can't. You can't do that. And
That's why
that's
so many
where it's
people
like,
failed in 2008, and why guys like you and I were able to get through it because we picked up the phone. We didn't lie when everything was going under. We showed up.
mhm.
And that's why you saw so many people fall off. And I think we're going to see that again. I think we're in another, I think it's a faster world what happened after 2008 with AI. And I think the frauds are going to show up, and we're going to see that again. And we're going to see the people that are the experts. And I'm using air quotes because everyone's an expert now with ChatGPT, and I even got confetti. And or we're going to see the authorities, the people that actually people believe in. And I think there's a huge difference between an expert and authority. Yes.
Okay, I'm glad. Yes, let's pause on that point because expertise, I believe, is commoditized. I was recently on Keith Costello's
Oh, nice.
podcast, Making Bank, and
Yeah.
he's got a great heart. He's really building a bank for entrepreneurs in South Florida with locality. And
Beautiful.
one of the things that I had mentioned, it was just an off the cuff. I was like, the knowledge economy is dead. We're moving into the wisdom economy. He was like, wisdom economy. That's the name of your next book. And because expertise, like you said, everyone can be an expert. You go to a large language model, you can get all the knowledge to your world. There's a big gap between wisdom and expertise,
Correct.
expertise and authority. I think authority and wisdom go hand in hand together. What's your take on that? Where is the gap, and how do we move from like expertise? Because I there's another book really influenced me, David C. Baker, called The
Okay.
Business of Expertise.
Yep.
But I think expertise has become commoditized.
Yeah. I
What's the
mean,
next level?
that's what you're going to see. I mean, like, look, AI is amazing. It can actually, it's not smarter than us. It actually just can find that information, put it together faster than us, right? It's all the information it has is based on what we've given it. Now here, and AI is a tool. It's just, and people look at it as, something more than that because it's like a dishwasher, right? Like it doesn't work until I put the dishes in and I hit start. And the people or a paintbrush, right? Like as human beings, we have more power than ever with AI, right? We are not in a digital revolution. We're in a human revolution.
Mhm.
Because I mean, like, let me tell you, like, and a right person with the right paintbrush can create a masterpiece or, some scribbles on the wall when I try and paint, So like, that's what we have to really remember. And AI doesn't have our lived experiences as human beings. I mean, dude, I've been in this online space for a while. Everyone's chasing algorithms, right? What's the next hack? What's the next trick? How do I game it? And I said, screw that. I'm sick of I hate hacks. I hate tricks. It just keeps people on the line, keeps selling. And I said, what's the one algorithm that doesn't change? What's the one that only evolves slowly over time? The human algorithm. How we
Mhm.
act as human beings. The things that I do online, JR, dude, they're just the things that my mom taught me how to treat other human beings. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing rocket science. I'm just treating someone like another human being. I'm creating connection. And I think the last piece I want to drop on here, as everyone kind of thinks, is it's not connect, sell, right? We're in a world now where it's how do you start a conversation to build a relationship, because relationships create opportunities. And people are jumping that relationship opportunity. And that's where the authority, because people go, man, I know Josh, I know JR. Like I feel like I've lived their life because we're sharing. And that's what people are looking for, that commonality, like they're being seen. And I think that's the big difference in today's world is that everyone as experts, they're giving you a whole bunch of information on how to do something, but they're not building connection with their audience.
So let's roll this back. There's four words that have really guided me, and this was in my first book, Banking on Digital Growth. Help first, sell second. Like that really resonated.
Yeah.
And you're right. It's not connect, sell. So as I'm thinking about this, you talk about lived experience. As I have shifted my focus as an entrepreneur to level up business, unique wisdom
Love
equals
that.
I think in models, I think in methods, I think in frameworks. It's just how my brain is wired, and
Yeah.
it's to take complex ideas and put them into little things that you can remember.
Yep.
unique wisdom equals your unique perspective, which is then multiplied by your unique methods. And so your unique perspective, that's your lived, learned, shared experience.
Yep.
Your unique method is in how you package that up, how you communicate. It's humanizing, for example, with you.
That's it. That's it.
And it becomes authentically yours. It's your authentic intelligence in connection. It's like, I'm thinking about this. There's like 3 levels of this. There's connections, maybe 4 connections that lead to conversations that lead to, as we're doing, content co-creation.
Yep.
That then builds an essence of community. Like, oh, I like what these guys are talking about. And then perhaps that down the road becomes a conversion. I was actually just talking with Audrey earlier. We just got an engagement from the first book. So it's still part of the kind of like that legacy business model that still exists. But it's like, now I'm trying to rectify in my own mind, like, how do I successfully navigate beyond that, out of that, and let go of that to really own this space with Level Up.
Love it.
But there were deposits that were made into someone's trust fund that sits between their ears 5 years ago. And I think when you're playing the game, if you play the game in decades, it totally changes the context of your horizon line. So if you go back, you've got time, you've got space. Let's double down on the idea of becoming a standout authority and humanizing online connections. LinkedIn is your space. What is the biggest misconception that people have when it comes to, maybe they're already on the LinkedIn and they're in the LinkedIn game, but they have these misunderstandings? This is where you're developing your authority. You have your authority. Where do people get it wrong?
Here's the thing, man. I mean, LinkedIn's been around longer than any other platform. They're going on. They just hit 21 years.
OG.
And I mean, like, let's talk about. I mean, like, where it was being a place to find a job or to be able to look for to hire someone, it's a massive different play right now. And the other aspect of it is too, which marketers ruin everything. You can't just go out and spam 1,000 people hoping to get one sale and go, yay, I got one sale, because you just pissed off 999 people. There's a better way to be able to do it, because even if you still only get one opportunity after talking to 1,000 people, if you treat them like human beings, that's 999 advocates that can actually go out there and talk about who you are, what you do, and what you stand for. And that's more powerful to me, right? So these are some of the basics that kind of go through, and LinkedIn's changed. Microsoft bought LinkedIn a couple years ago for like $24.6 billion cash. It was their largest cash purchase at the time. And now I think it's worth almost 90 billion. I mean, they have one of their biggest returns. So they're doubling down. Let's go to another piece. Microsoft also owns another little company. They don't really say it, but they do, OpenAI.
Yeah.
So when you look at these different aspects, right? LinkedIn is a powerhouse. It's not only just the future of business, it's the future of search because of this. And I know this because I work with them on the inside and what they're doing. So the Moz score, when you go back to SEO, is 100 out of 100 on LinkedIn. So I guarantee, JR, if you're not even on, if you just have a LinkedIn profile, you've never done it, I guarantee if I search you, one of the top 3 results, and everyone listening, if I search their name, it's going to be your LinkedIn profile.
Correct.
It's because it's so highly indexed. Microsoft paid attention to that. What they're doing on the other side is they're leveraging LinkedIn as well for the basis of generative search, because it's one of the most trusted platforms out there, because we live in a 24/7, I used to say news world, but let's be honest, the powers that be that run our country now are mostly from TV. So it's a 24/7 media world.
Yes.
But news outlets still go to LinkedIn to be able to get their experts, their authorities, and things like that. So they're indexing all of LinkedIn right now for AEO and where it's going. And so, like you're talking about, you want to be able to show up.
I want to pause you real fast. You've used the word AEO a couple of times. I understand where you're coming from, but if that's a new term for those watching and listening, what
search engine optimization, answer engine optimization, because again, we are right now, we go to Google, but half the time, like you're getting the AI at the beginning of it and it's giving you your answer, you're not clicking anywhere. And so that's where we're moving to a 0-click mentality. And what AI is looking for are people that have been doing the same thing for a long time and have multiple different pieces that show that they are the authority in that space. So when they're actually looking how many touch points can they show, and how many are they relevant to? So when you're using LinkedIn, you build out your entire LinkedIn profile, all indexable. You put all those different things, even like on mine, you'll see that for 5 years, I was the resident Spider-Man at Dell Children's Hospital here in Austin, Texas, right? Like, being spandex ready, whatever. But it's
and you have Chili's on your profile too, going all the way back.
But that's that whole thing, right? Like, I'm stacking it in my favor, and this is why. And then I'm also leveraging different aspects of how I put my content out there, how I leverage it with LinkedIn News, because the LinkedIn News team runs that platform. And so, like, when I'm doing all these different aspects, I am getting highly indexed in AI and with generative search. So, like, now if you go on any AI search engine and you search for top LinkedIn experts in the world, I'm going to be one of the top 3. That's setting me up for success. That's setting me up because we're all going to get indexed anyway. I don't care who says that our phones aren't listening to us all the time. But dude, I was going to Costa Rica for the summer, and let me tell you, I don't think I searched on it, but I mean, how many ads and different things I got for Costa Rica before I even got there?
Yes.
We know these things that happen. So if we're going to get indexed, I want to control the narrative. And the best way to control that narrative right now is to be able to show up on LinkedIn and create those relationships, create those opportunities. That's just, I mean, there's a whole nother level of how to actually work on that platform, but that's what I want everyone to pay attention to now in the short time frame is get on that platform, rock out your LinkedIn profile, fill every piece of it out for indexing, start putting content, not multiple times a day, hell, at minimum 3 times a week, and start doing that because it's all going to get indexed highly on LinkedIn, on Google, and now in AI.
What is it? Because I've talked to, at this point, over 100 entrepreneurs about how they view growth, what are their plans for growth, and I would say that a couple of the trends that are coming to the top, and we did a research study around this.
Yeah.
Building my personal brand, posting more video content were kind of the 3 trends that were moving up to the top of their mind share.
Yeah.
But then it's like, we're going to go do another study over the next quarter of, great, you say you want to do this.
Yeah.
But then you're not taking action, because I've watched and observed their behavior over the last 6 months. And I'm like, okay, so there's a reality gap. It's like, I want to go to the gym, but I'm not going to the gym. Okay, well, what's the belief that's holding you back? And I've started to like float some of this. Some have verbally said, well, I don't want to be an influencer, or I don't have time, or
I don't want to be an influencer either. An influencer is someone that's half naked on Instagram trying to sell me some sunglasses.
And I agree. And I think that's the thing. Their idea, though, their perception of LinkedIn, because these are all B2B, their perception is, well, if I invest my team, time, energy, attention, money, if I invest my team into this, my time or my team's time, my energy, my attention, my money, well, then people are going to perceive me as an influencer. So I think there's that. And you're right. I'm right there with you. I don't want to be an influencer. The others, well, what do I know? I'm like, you've been doing what you've been doing for 20 years.
Yeah.
You know a lot.
Yeah, but shift the perspective. It's how they name it, right? So JR, think about this. Also, I don't want you to be a thought leader. Thought leader says a whole bunch of things. And people go, wow, that's amazing. I want you to be a thought leader with influence, because if you're going to say something profound and people don't take action, what are you doing it for anyway? You're just taking up more space.
I sent this to Joe Polish this morning because he had posted something on LinkedIn.
Are you in Genius?
Genius Network. So I'm in Coach.
Yeah.
Elevated Platinum with Chad Willardson.
Yeah.
Genius Network is on my 3-year horizon.
Yeah. Love Genius. I mean, I don't know if you know or not, but Joe and Dan I actually created Dan's first LinkedIn profile. So
what a small world, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So see, it's just super interesting how you connect all these dots.
Yeah.
So I sent him a text and I said, hey, just share this with an entrepreneur I'm working with. I said, appreciate the perspective. You said perspective shift. Yeah. And it's right in line, which is really interesting. Joe wrote, when it comes to thought leaders, anyone can come up with a thought. He's framing this as result leaders. Result leaders can be a lot more valuable. What you ultimately have when you get results for people is success recipes.
Yep.
You have opportunities every day to collect success recipes. These can become an annual book your company releases, internal methodologies for making your team more effective, and more. Now, that point of the book, I mean, that's kind of that's my perception here after publishing a couple of books. It's like, wait a minute, I invested all this time, energy, attention, money into the book. Wait a minute, that could have been fuel for all of these other activities.
100%.
LinkedIn,
Yeah,
video content.
yeah. Oh, we do.
So,
I mean, some of our best clients are amazing authors, and being able to go through because they have the content, being able to go through. It's being able to tell a story, right? Like people don't go to LinkedIn to lose themselves in someone else's life, like on Instagram or TikTok, right? They're not getting these TikTok funnels. They go there either to make a decision or get information to make a decision. And so how do you actually do that? Most people write at people. They do not write conversationally. And I think that's the big aspect because they go, it's a B2B. BS. B2B, business to business and business to consumer, were designed by guys like me 20, 30 years ago to diversify ad spend, basically, AKA get more money from you. Every company is run by another human being. Most marketers forget that. And when you realize that, you realize it's all H to H, human to human.
Yeah.
Every company is run by another human being, and we have to remember that. And when you look at LinkedIn, they go, oh, it's a B2B platform. BS. It's not. It's a human platform.
So someone's watching, someone's listening. They've dabbled on LinkedIn. They got the profile. Maybe they've posted here and there, but they haven't invested their time, energy, attention, money into really leveraging the platform to make real connection, to have real conversation. I think for me personally, one of the things I've enjoyed, it's like things like this. You and I think you didn't even comment on anything. You rated me or something like that. I was like, hey, dude, thanks so much.
Yeah.
That led to a couple back and forth. You know what? Let's just have a conversation. And sometimes they'll end up on a podcast. Sometimes it'll just be a 15 minutes. And they're like, hey, you want to meet for 15 minutes and just bring LinkedIn to life?
Yeah.
And they're like, really? I'm like, yeah. Like, this is like, I want to know the people behind the profile. And have a conversation.
This is all why it is, right? Like we all hate cold calling and cold email. Like, I mean, marketers do it because they make money on it, but they hate when it happens to them. And this is the problem, right? And so you have to be able to shift. What is a better way? So on LinkedIn, get the profile, even before you get the content, but like, how do you actually build a conversation? Well, you have to look for trigger points, right? And I want everyone to hear this before we end, because I think it's important. And we have to be able to go, my trigger points are on LinkedIn. I can see everyone that looks at my profile. I can look at everyone that engaged in my content. And if I have LinkedIn's built-in CRM system, Sales Navigator, I can identify my ideal audience and find the ones that have posted online in the last 30 days. Average person gets less than 1% engagement on LinkedIn. Our clients get between 10 and 15% engagement rates, but whatever. It's these things that you have to be able. So how do you actually, our human algorithm that I talked about earlier, we've been conditioned to like, comment, share, post, like, comment, share, post, like, comment. We're in that pattern. So we take all that for granted. So when I reach out and I say, hey, JR, man, I saw your recent post. Just want to reach out and say thank you. Thank you creates a stopgap. And it says, wow, I got thanked for something I take for granted. Or JR, I saw you looked at my I looked at my profile, dude. Thank you so much. Love to find out what pushed you to look me up. Or, hey, saw you engaged on my post. Love to find out what pushed you to engage in my content. I'm starting conversation, but what I'm also doing is I'm dealing with a little piece of dopamine, because why we all post online in this world, first and foremost, above all else, even though we might say branding, marketing, we've been conditioned to look for those little hits of dopamine when someone likes or comments on our post. Then it's branding, then it's marketing, then it's our message.
You've seen, you've been noticed.
Correct. And so what we're doing is dopamine without direction is insanity. That's social media. Dopamine with intention is connection. It puts someone in a flow state. This is how I got the name Dopamine Dealer of LinkedIn. I was on a podcast. I was telling them this, and then it came out and they're like, Joshua B. Lee, Dopamine Dealer of LinkedIn. And it kind of stuck because boom, I said, thank you. We connect. The next action is they connected. This is when everyone messes up on LinkedIn. They're like, hey, look at my shiny shit. No one cares. My mom always told me, when you meet someone new, give them a compliment, right? Nice car, love your dog, cool, whatever, right? Little things that we say we've naturally been, at least in Texas, we've been taught to be able to do, right?
Yes.
Give someone a smile. And so what we did is, like, I said, well, what is that on LinkedIn? I said, well, endorsements at the bottom of their LinkedIn profile is an easy way to be able to do. So I can endorse you, JR, for
That's what it was. It was
podcasting.
an endorsement. Yeah.
And then you get a message from LinkedIn, not me, that says, hey, JR, Josh just endorsed you for LinkedIn. Do you want to say thank you? Boom, another hit of dopamine, right? You're like, yeah, sure, why not? Now I've flipped the conversation because now you're reaching out to me. Hey, Josh, thank you so much for endorsing me for podcasting, dude. Really appreciate that. Love. What spurred it? Now you're bringing me into the conversation. Now I can actually ask about you, find out more opportunity. And so the question we used to do after this, we actually use the same question for both Joe and for Dan because they loved what we designed. It was happy to do it. You know, hey, quick question. I always love someone's mindset because if you ask, hey, because everyone goes, do you make 7 figures? Do you hate your job? Do you, no one, everyone's like, okay, I'm in a funnel. You know, I'm actually trying to understand someone's mindset because if I understand their mindset, I know where they're at. And I think that's more powerful in this world. So we asked the question with both of them was, do you consider yourself an entrepreneur or a business owner with an entrepreneurial mindset? And that's a profound question if you actually understand it. Yes. Because it allows you to understand entrepreneur either early on in your career or, dude, you and I have been doing this for a long time. If we were entrepreneurs, that means you're in hustle state all the time. It's exhausting. I don't want to be an entrepreneur my entire life.
You're putting go back to Vegas. You're putting the chips all the way back in the table.
Yeah. So like, I want to be a business owner with an entrepreneur mindset. That means I have a growth mindset. I probably have a team. I've been doing this longer, or I've got my silent answer C, which is I work for somebody else. Yeah. And so now I'm able to meet them where they're at because I asked a profound question that made them think, and I put them as the expert. Hey, I'd love to understand your thinking. Everyone loves to be an expert, you know, and be asked what they think. We've been taught in this world. That's why Twitter works so well. And so that's that whole piece. But the one thing I want everyone to understand is how they answer the question is how you show up, right? The one thing that most people do is when they get that answer, I work for somebody else because that's not their ideal client. They never hear anything else. They get crickets. We've always been taught to start every relationship with value. I want you to leave with value. Right? How do you actually leave someone with value? So if they do, like with Dan, we worked with him and Benjamin Hardy on when he was going Who Not How, when they relaunched that. And so that was like, we gave the book free plus shipping as the gift. If they were not our ideal audience, they were working with somebody else. Amazing. Hey, I just launched this book. I'd love to be able to send it to you free because now we're building advocates because we never asked anything of them. We gave, and now it works. And I've been doing it for 10 years.
Yeah, it's back to like Joe's What's in It for Them book.
On that too, yeah.
Yeah, so it's interesting to kind of get, behind the scenes with these points. And I really appreciate you get really practical here and like real things that someone can do watching. It's not just theory. It's like, no, you could do these things. Go make a connection. It's like, for example, I have we're of the same time period. You remember PBS 3, 2, 1 contact?
Oh, yeah.
3, 2, 1 contact. Yeah. So people have asked me, well, what's your recommendation? If I'm just getting started, you know, like 3 connections a day. It's 3 connections.
Yeah.
But they got to be meaningful connections. Like you just had a connection, like every single connection I make, it's like I scan, what have they posted? What have they commented? Like just make it very personal to them so that I'm paying attention.
Yeah.
I'm invested. 2 comments on someone else's post.
Yep.
And then 1 post per day. Now, granted, as I've made this shift myself, I've kind of pulled back on my own posting.
Even some of the most well-known people that you probably don't realize that we run their campaigns for, we do 3 posts a week. You have to let content breathe on LinkedIn. It doesn't get lost. I have articles that I wrote 5 years ago that still get engagement and shares. And honestly, they're not even relevant anymore. I'm like, wait, that feature doesn't even exist. So like that, like right now we're seeing like content even get a second lift 2 to 3 weeks after the post. Like find another social media platform that content still lives after a couple hours or a day. Yeah. And so that's why you have to give that opportunity to let that content breathe and be able to, you know, really, and dude, here's the thing, JR. Everyone goes, oh, well, I need an automation, right? Like automation helps me scale. You don't need one. If you use automation on LinkedIn, if they catch you, you're going to lose your entire account. They hate automation. It's against their T's and C's. those automation platforms update every night to try and stay ahead of LinkedIn's code. And then 2, like you said, 3 connections. You only get 400 connections a month. So if you break that down, that's 100 a week. That's 20 a day.
Yeah.
Anyone listening right now, if you can't tell me you don't have time in your business to find 20 real people, especially if you use Sales Navigator, it's $100 a month, it's worth it, right? Because it allows you to identify those people that are online within the last 30 days, ideal clients, and you make 20 real connections where you can comment on their posts and reach out and go, hey, JR, I saw your recent podcast with Josh, dude. I really appreciate the value you brought. Thank you. Anyone can do this. Now, we do it for a lot of people, right? But I don't want anyone ever to step out of their zone of genius, but at the same time, anyone can do it. You can do it, but or you could hire a company like ours.
Well, and I guess that's a great point, because it comes back to who's on your team. Yeah. How are you investing your time? How are you spending your energy? Because energy is finite. What are you paying attention to? And then all of that's going to come down to what's your relationship with money, which is, we were talking about that to begin our conversation. So literally we've come almost full circle, because you're right. It comes down to zone of genius. It comes down to unique ability. It's like, is this in your zone of genius? Is this in your unique ability? And if it's not, that doesn't mean you can't leverage the platform. It doesn't mean you can't leverage the connections, the conversations. You got people like Josh that can help you out with that. As we wrap up, I want to just do a hard right.
Come on, we got 3 more hours of conversation.
We turn this into a multi one. No, I got lunch. I got lunch with my wife, and that's where I want to ask you a question.
I'm getting in trouble by your wife, let me tell you. So you got to finish this.
You do not want to get in trouble with her, because she's intense. She's
only a 2-hour drive away, so she can find me.
Oh yeah, no, she's an interesting character, and I love her to death. Okay, we talked about Dan. I think about like Dan and Babs. I think about a couple of other. What's that like? The two of you working together.
I love it. I mean, without Babs, I would have never gotten anywhere. I mean, like, look, I love Dan. He's going in. Dear, I remember calling Babs, going, please. So here's the biggest thing with social media too. Even if you're Dan Sullivan, right? But he's not a household name. He's a household name to guys like you and I. Yeah. And this is something that my wife had to bring me back to reality when she was in work for Microsoft, right? She's like, dude, you can say Tony Robbins, you can say Joe Polish, you can say Dan Sullivan, but the average person doesn't know who they are. So like, even though you run all their, like, your world's still small, right? So realize that. And so even with that, everyone wants to put content out that's all polished and pretty and amazing, but real and raw beats overproduced every time, because most people, when they see overproduced, we condition them waiting for the commercial. So I remember calling Babs going, please stop giving me all this over-polished videos and pictures of Dan. Like, get me behind the scenes. I want the real, I want the raw, because I want to be able to have him connect with an audience.
Oh, see, I just got something out of you. That wasn't even my question. It was a poorly formed question on my part. When I was talking about Dan and Babs, I was talking about, they have life partners, business partners.
You can go that way too.
I'm thinking about you and Rachel.
Well, yeah, I love that too. Sorry, I went the wrong way. I was like, yeah,
no. See, that was a poorly formed question on my part, but I was just going to let you go, because I was like, you were sharing something unique right there.
Yeah.
What's that journey been like, the two of you? Because I have been
not easy.
Well, I've been encouraging Delina, because she comes from an entrepreneurial family. Yeah. Her dad was an immigrant. I mean, lived the American dream. I mean, he's the whole reason that I'm even doing what I'm doing, because he opened my eyes to the entrepreneurial journey.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I value her perspective. She operates completely different than I do. I'm 100% visionary. She's probably more like practical to a degree, but it's not easy. But what's been the lesson you've learned through that experience with Rachel?
Communication. I mean, look, I saw how amazing and special she was. I mean, like, people meet her now, like, oh, now we see the magic. She's only been out of the corporate world for almost 4 years now. And I remember seeing her stress, and she was taught to climb the corporate ladder and things like that. I mean, dude, JR, like, I knew she was the one for me when we were doing, after I got my divorce, we met, and she moved out to, Seattle, to go work for Microsoft. And she was out there for a year, and she got the opportunity to do like a comms, executive comms for one of the VPs over at Microsoft. Let me tell you, that's like the fast track. Like, that's the ladder up in the world. And she turned it down to come back to Austin and be with me. And let me tell you, man, to have someone choose you first over career and things like that, it's amazing, right? To be able to have that opportunity. And then she did it. She worked for a corporate for a while. And then, I was like, look, I think you need to be an entrepreneur. You need to share your voice. And there's ups and downs, right? But it always brings us back to, we have to communicate, and we are yin and yang, but I think that's why we work, because she has her strengths, and we had to really work and figure out where each of us should stand. And she's a star in herself. So also when you have two stars shining, how does your team go through and how do you show up? And you have to move from star to support and support to star based on when the energy needs to flow. Or you got two people bashing heads. So that's, and dude, I'm going to be 100% honest with everyone. Right? Recently, I had my ego in the way. She was telling me for years, she's like, look, we live in a world right now where, and you've got two daughters. She's like, we live in a world right now where female-owned businesses, there's opportunity, to really be able to go in. And I was like, I started this company 12 years ago. This is you're trying to take my company. Finally, I put that ego aside and I said, you're right. You know what? Honestly, you're the better CEO than I am. And cool. I'm going to give you 51% of the company. Let's go. And it has been amazing for us. And I'm proud to be able to show my daughters that I can put ego aside and they can see something truly special with her running the company.
I would say she is probably, I'm not going to say probably, she is the better CEO. She's not in here full time. She's in more of an advisor seat.
Yeah.
She could probably take this thing and run it far better than I ever could.
Guys like you and I, we like doing this. We like running around, showing up, as my wife sometimes says, just sit there and look pretty.
Man, it's so fun. And two, we have two daughters. We have two boys. We have two girls.
Yeah.
And entrepreneurship, it's a big conversation in the family. Value creation is a big conversation in the family. And I think to bring all of this full circle, you wrote the book, Balance is Bullshit. Because then, the question is, well, how do you balance all of this? And you don't. It's integration.
Yeah. Balance is static. You're not moving. You're not growing. If you're we talk about being in the gym, you don't grow in muscles by being static. You grow by being out of, alignment. So again,
I think who else is doing this? Andy and Jacqueline, Elliott and Jacqueline Elliott doing something very similar. Yeah. So it's just, maybe we need to have another conversation on that. That type of, running together. Because, and I think it's the together, it's the old African proverb. If you want to go fast, go alone. And I think that was me as an entrepreneur. I was the quintessential, what did Dan call it? You pull yourself up by your bootstraps. He's a word for that. I can't think of it, but
yeah.
If you want to run fast, go alone. If you want to go far, you got to go together. And that's come back to the who, not how principles. Man, Joshua, I so appreciate the conversation today and the perspective, the unique wisdom you've shared, your authentic intelligence that you've downloaded to help others level up. If someone wants to continue the conversation that we've started, what's the best way for them to reach out and say hello to you?
Man, what I really love is when someone reaches out on LinkedIn to connect with me, but doesn't send a blank connection request, because I'm going to tell you, I'm not playing Pokemon on LinkedIn. I'm not trying to collect them all. I need, and my kids play Pokemon. It's one of those things. So I get that mentality kicks in, but dude, I want them to send a message and tell me why they listen and why they love you. Because if they send me a message and tell me, hey dude, JR's badass because of this, or this is why I love him. Then it not only lets me get to know them, but it also allows me to get to know you better as well too. And us have a deeper relationship and conversation.
Well, listen, go connect with Josh. Tell him what's been helpful from this conversation, the value that you've gained from him, from his wisdom, from his authentic intelligence. And man, I so appreciate this. We're going to do this again. And it's funny because my phone just rang and it's Delina. She's calling.
Time to go.
I got to get to lunch, bud.
Take care.
I want to thank you for tuning in again to learn, to grow, to level up together with Josh's unique wisdom. If you are a visionary entrepreneur who wants to transform your past experience being one of your most valuable assets as an entrepreneur, if you want to transform that experience into IP that elevates your influence to increase your income, send me a text right now, 832-240-1922, because I want to teach you. I want to show you how you can turn video content just like this into a book that monetizes your unique wisdom.